Hello there! Ever since EA got their licensing deal with Star Wars, things have been really problematic for Star Wars and their video games, with disrespect towards fans, controversies, and just a lack of Star Wars games in general. Today I would like to talk about what 5 years of Star Wars games with EA has been like and what went wrong. Because this licensing deal is becoming really problematic and I think there should be a shift of control when it comes to Star Wars games, but let's start with the beginning.
6 May 2013. EA announces their exclusive licensing deal with Star Wars. This deal is supposed to be a new multi-year exclusive licensing agreement to develop and publish globally new games based on Star Wars characters and storylines. EA will develop and publish new Star Wars titles for a core gaming audience, spanning all interactive platforms and the most popular genres, while Disney will retain certain rights to develop new titles with the mobile, social, tablet and online game categories. 3 studios immediately began working on Star Wars games. These were Battlefield developer DICE, Dead Space developer Visceral, and Mass Effect developer BioWare. Let's start with the first one, DICE. Say what you want about DICE, but they were able to bring out 2 new Star Wars games since the beginning of EA's licensing deal. And these 2 games were of course Star Wars Battlefront and Star Wars Battlefront 2. Star Wars Battlefront was meant to be a reboot of the original series, which started in 2004, by the game with the same name. DICE's Battlefront is also referred to by the fans as Star Wars Battlefront 2015. The game was first teased at E3 in 2015, with not much information and just a confirmation that it was in the works. After release, the game was praised by its visuals, music, and overall Star Wars feeling. Unfortunately, the game fell short in single-player content, multiplayer modes, and only featured content from the original trilogy, which made sequel and prequel fans like me feel left out.
How rude!
The beautiful thing about the old Star Wars Battlefront was the inclusion of all eras. Also, this game included a season pass with 4 DLC packs. As more packs came out, the core audience got smaller and smaller. Still, the game sold more than 14 million copies and a lot of people kept playing until the release of Battlefront 2. But that could also be because it was the only Star Wars content available for home consoles and PC at the time. The sequel, called Star Wars Battlefront 2, was announced in March of 2017, just before Star Wars Celebration, where they would give out more information and the first trailer. This game would improve everything where the first game went wrong. Content from all eras, no more season pass but instead free DLC, and a fully fleshed out single player campaign, with also arcade mode for more single player content. Things looked promising, but the crowd didn't respond too well where they first announced exclusive skins that you could only get by pre-ordering the game.
Is that we have a terrific pre-order offer. This is good.
But even before the game released, things really went wrong. It was discovered that people could buy microtransactions, and with these they could purchase stuff in-game. The only problem is the star cards that you could buy with this would give players an unfair advantage online, which would make the game pay to win. Also, many of the heroes and villains were locked behind credits. You could earn these credits or you could buy them. Darth Vader, the most expensive villain, would approximately cost 40 hours of playtime to unlock, and that would only grant you just 1 villain. Then EA really dug a grave for themselves by responding to a Reddit thread which was a complaint about the Darth Vader price tag, and receiving the most disliked comment ever on Reddit history. They responded with, "The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes. As for cost, we select initial values based on data from open beta and other adjustments made to milestone rewards before launch. Among other things, we're looking at average per player credit earn rates on a daily basis. And we'll be making constant adjustments to ensure that players have challenges that are compelling, rewarding and of course attainable via gameplay." With 667,822 downvotes, we can see the comment didn't went over that well. After that, they took away microtransactions and overhauled the hero prices and progression system. But still, the game was met with a lack of steady flow of content, which admittedly they are better with now. They have added some much requested characters, communicate with the fanbase and keep going forward strong, which is mostly thanks to the developers and their love of the game. But like I said, at least DICE were able to complete 2 games. Now let's look at Visceral. Visceral was working on a linear single-player Star Wars game that would be set between episodes 4 and 5. Overseen by creative director Amy Hennig, who is most well known for the Uncharted series, This game was supposed to be an Uncharted or Tomb Raider-like Star Wars game. The game even had a short teaser, but the game was unfortunately cancelled by EA in 2013. With that, the whole Visceral studio had to be closed down. Developers from the game have later spoken out, saying that they had lack of resources, an over-ambitiously planned, not enough support from EA, and a difficult engine to work with. So there were multiple factors for closing down this game. But the game was not lost entirely. EA wanted to reshape this game to a more open-world Star Wars game, where different planets could be explored. But on January 16, 2019, that game got cancelled as well. They cancelled it in favor of a smaller game that they will release much earlier. We just have to wait and see if that game will ever release as well.
On to BioWare, where we unfortunately don't know much about. We do know that they reportedly wanted to make a Knights of the Old Republic game, and they have asked EA repeatedly, which they kept denying them the right to do so. So the question is if they are even working on a Star Wars game right now. There is still hope for another game though. At E3 2018, Vince and Pella from Respawn, who are known for the Titanfall series, announced that they were working on a Star Wars game called Jedi Fallen Order, which takes place between episodes 3 and 4, when the Jedis are being hunted down by the Empire. It was revealed to be released around the holiday of 2019, so we have that to look forward to.
You have to understand that all of this happened in a time span of 5 years, nearing 6 in just 2 months. I love Star Wars, and whether you agree or disagree the direction it has taken with the movies since it's been in the hands of Disney, the worlds, stories and characters have all been greatly enhanced by the movies, TV series like Rebels and Resistance, and some really awesome books. But the only thing that's missing are the games. And the games is where Star Wars can be at its very best. From massive battles from the classic Battlefront games where you could fight cross eras, to amazing story-driven RPGs like Knights of the Old Republic series. From beautiful single-player lightsaber action with the Force Unleashed, to enriching massive multiplayer online RPGs like Star Wars Galaxies and the Old Republic. Games can mean so much to the Star Wars universe, and I know a lot of us grew up with unforgettable memories from these games. Also, let's not forget the LEGO Star Wars series, Rogue Squadron, the Jedi Knight series, and other amazing games. It's just too sad that we have to miss out on amazing games because EA can't put out a game without thinking about money. I understand that EA is a company and has to make money to stay in business, but there is a difference between making profit from sales and just straight up greed. Even co-writer for Rogue One, Gary Whitta, has gone publicly with stating that Disney should pull away the rights from EA, with calling EA's efforts as an embarrassment. Normally I would say prove me wrong EA, but I think they had their chance. It's time to pass on the lightsaber to another company that treats Star Wars and their fans with respect. Stop screwing the fans over and give up the rights so Disney can find a more suitable developer. Because these 5 years were a shit show. And if you're wondering if it's legal to just end the licensing deal here,
I will make it legal.
Thank you very much for listening to me complain in this video. If you enjoyed it, you can like this video or you can subscribe to the channel right here. Because if you do so, that would mean the world to me. If you have the time, you can check out one of my other videos right here. And if not, then I hope to see you next time. And remember, the Force will be with you. Always. You will subscribe to Express.